عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. First, I would like to take this opportunity to offer our condolences to Imam Mahdi أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف for the demise anniversary of his grandfather Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, and would like to renew our devotion and allegiance to Imam alayhi salam. One of the things that we find in the life of Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq alayhim salam is that they very much encouraged people to seek knowledge and to share their knowledge with other people. And they themselves also, as much as conditions allowed them, dedicated their time to teaching and passing on the knowledge. We have many hadith from all our Imams, but in particular Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq alayhim salam about this issue. And we have many historical records about the way they worked hard to train people. Not only they had public platforms that everyone could benefit, for example, teaching in a masjid, in Masjidun Nabi, everyone, whether it would be residents, visitors, could attend these lectures. But they had students that were especially trained. So they didn't just have a public plan or a general plan. They had also a specific plan for training qualified scholars in different fields. Their area of scholarship was also very diverse. It was not only, for example, fiqh, or only, for example, akhlaq, or only even Islamic sciences. Even it included things like chemistry, like medicine. So, why so much emphasis on knowledge? Why they so much dedicated their time to teaching? I am sure for someone like Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, the most enjoyable way of spending his time just would be to do ibadah. Because what they get from the moments of being alone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much that nothing can replace that. They have to force themselves to come to other areas of life. It's not like someone like me, that if I do some ibadah or salat for more than half an hour, 1 hour, I may be tired. If day and night they do ibadah, they will never get tired. So what made them understand that they should spend more time with the community, with the seekers of knowledge? I address this issue very briefly because the time is very limited, and I want also to bless our session with some hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. So very briefly, I can say, and this is my humble understanding, there is nothing like knowledge that would make an individual or a community or humanity in general closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Among all qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowledge is one quality that stands at the top. Maybe there are other things next to knowledge, or maybe everything else goes back to knowledge. This is a philosophical discussion, and I don't want to enter that discussion. But according to many Muslim scholars, even something like Arsh, divine throne, stands for knowledge of God. So knowledge is not something secondary or derivative. Knowledge of God is the main quality of God. His power comes from that. His life comes from that. His will comes from that. His love comes from that. But we don't want to enter that discussion. When it comes to us, again, knowledge is, at least, if we want to be very moderate in our claim, at least knowledge is one of the best qualities that we can ever have to resemble Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the Quran says, هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, this is just at the level of common sense. Every person of common sense would understand that those who have knowledge and those who don't have knowledge are not equal. But the Quran goes further and says it's actually more than just not being equal. All higher ranks of human perfection, all higher ranks of nearness to God, all higher ranks of heaven are based on knowledge. يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah raises those of you who have faith and those who have been given knowledge in ranks. So, first, according to Allama Tabatabai's interpretation, first, you would be given a rank based on your iman. And you know, iman without knowledge cannot work. Shia theologians very clearly have said that iman needs also knowledge. If you open any risala, they say you have to have yaqeen with respect to your aqaid, at least with respect to the principles. And yaqeen is a matter of knowledge. So, even iman involves knowledge. So, first, based on iman. But then, among mu'mineen, who would be put in higher levels? الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ. Those who have knowledge. There's a beautiful hadith in tafsir of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam that Ma'soom alayhi salam says, Ulama on the day of judgment based on two factors will be positioned. One, ala qadr ulumihim, and second, jaddihim fi irshad al-khalq fi irshad ibadillah. I don't remember exactly what was the phrase. How much knowledge they have and how much efforts they have made to help people, to guide people. So, knowledge is very, very important. Now, if knowledge is a true knowledge, if knowledge is the one that comes with iman, with taqwa, for sure this would make the person who is possessed with this knowledge a person that can serve as an indicator of the will of God. Because what's the best way for us to understand the will of God? To refer to the people who have knowledge and iman, knowledge and taqwa, knowledge and righteousness. They would be helping us to understand the will of God. They themselves follow the people who are more knowledgeable than them and more pious than them. They are students of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, and they teach us as their own students. So, this is why Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam very much asked the Shia to refer to the people who have combined ilm and taqwa, knowledge and piety, to the extent that not only they said to the people who have no access to imams to refer to these people, even in Medina, Imam were encouraging people to sit in masjid and teach people and give fatwa. Because our understanding is that fatwa and taqleed should be for the time of ghaibah. But it seems according to Ahlul Bayt, there was a level of taqleed that you can even do at the time of the presence of Imam. Imam didn't say, first you come to me and ask me. If you have no access to me, refer to these ulama, these narrators of hadith. No. It was enough for people to refer to them. Of course, ijtihad at that time was not very sophisticated. But what I'm saying is that Imams wanted to train the Shia, whether at the level of scholars or at the level of the public, to get used to this habit of referring to the people who have knowledge and ask for questions and not just waiting to see Imam. Whether those scholars themselves had to check with Imam, that's another issue. If they were not sure, of course they had to wait and ask Imam. If they were sure, if they were given principles that they could apply, they could do it right away. There was no such a thing that everyone should ask Imam if possible. So, Imams alayhimus salam, and in particular Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq alayhimus salam, made sure that not only they teach people, but also establish an institution for the Muslim community in general and the followers of Ahlul Bayt in particular, that is based on knowledge and taqwa. You know, one of the most difficult jobs and at the same time most rewarding job is if you establish institutions, not just do things, ad hoc or do particular acts. They established institution of Marja'iyyah. Little by little, this led to what we have today. Little by little, this became so strong that even having no access to Imam or to the people who are particularly appointed by Imam would not cause confusion for the Shia community. If from that time they were not laying the foundations and training people and making them little by little used to rely on a scholarship and this institution, it could cause such a big shock to go to the time of ghaibah that Shia could get confused. But they established this institution. And what I would like to emphasize on is that this is not something about people as persons. This is about institution and about qualities. If we follow a marja', if we follow a godly scholar, it means we follow knowledge and piety, not individuals Even those individuals themselves have to follow their own fatwas, because these are not personal opinion. Maybe some people think a marja has an opinion and he has the freedom or power to do a little bit maneuver to please us or to make life easier for us. That's not the case. Actually, maraj are the most strict people in applying their own fatwas. Why? Because they, better than us, know that these are the best interpretations of the sources that we have. If I follow fatwa of a marja and try to follow it 100% because of taqleed, the marja who has come to this understanding based on his scholarship and reading the Quran and Hadith, he is much clearer than me and he is more committed to this than me. So there is no way that a true and qualified marja would be able to do some game with his fatwa. He has to follow. His family have to follow. His office has to follow. Because not a person's opinion. This is knowledge and piety leading to a conclusion. And everyone has to be committed, and those who have more knowledge and piety are expected to be more committed. So marja himself has to be most committed. Ulama have to be more committed. When it comes to the public, they have to be also fully committed. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ, the only people who truly have great fear and awe towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are ulama. This is translated into all areas of life. And one manifestation of that khashya that you should see in a scholar, in an alim, in an imam, is how much he is serious about fatwas. Khashya of Allah is not just, khashya that you would have when you are standing for prayer or when you go next to Kaaba. Khashya of Allah is how you deal with religious affairs, how you would answer inquiries of people, how you would share fatwa of marja with people, how you would deal with financial issues. So this is khashya of Allah. And among ulama, maraj are the people who have the greatest fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, we are not dealing with people as individuals, as sons of so and so. We are dealing with people who occupy a position. And that position is defined and established in the first place by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the second place by the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. The position is the most important thing. In every time, every generation, one or few people occupy this position. But if you have some disagreement with these individuals, or if they are not perfect, never question the institution. Never lose your maximum loyalty to this institution. People come and go. Of course, alhamdulillah, we have had great examples, great maraj. But for the people who are not very happy, for the people who think there can be improvements, okay. But never disregard the institution. This is a sacred institution. And anyone who has love for Islam and Ahlul Bayt, anyone who has concern for the Shia community, should know it would not do any service to us if we treat this position in the way that its respect would 1 in million be lost. Even 1 in million we cannot afford. Actually, by the passage of time, we need this institution to be more and more shining. Partly it's by us. Partly is by those who occupy the position, but great part of it is by us. Once a person asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, what's the difference between our people who follow ulama and some other faith communities who follow their ulama and they are blamed? If taqleedul ulama is to be blamed, why we encourage people to do taqleed of ulama? And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam made a very clear distinction. We don't say do taqleed of any alim. We say do taqleed of an alim who represents knowledge and piety, not just a person who has formally occupied this position without fulfilling the rights of this position. This is in Tafsir al-Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. قال رجل للإمام الصادق عليه السلام فإذا كان هؤلاء القوم لا يعرفون الكتاب إلا بما يسمعون من علمائهم لا سبيل لهم إلى غيره فكيف ذمهم الله بتقليدهم والقبول من علمائهم. If there were some religious people before Islam that they are blamed because they were following without understanding, without distinction, their scholars. So if they are blamed for following their scholars who misguided them and took them away from God, what about us? Why we are different? Are they lay people different from our lay people? If we blame them for following their ulama, why we ask our people to follow ulama? Maybe this is a question that some people have. But thanks to God, this question was asked and answered in the time of Imam Sadiq. Many questions actually people have, these are not new questions. It has newly come to their mind, but it has not newly come to the mind of humanity. These are all old questions, but with new dress. Imam alayhi salam said, the relation between our ulama and those who follow them, and their ulama and those who followed them, has some commonality and some difference. The person asked for clarification. Imam alayhi salam says, this is very important. Imam says, they knew that their ulama were not honest. Arafu ulama'ahum. Of course, we are not talking about today, we are not talking about all generations, but those people that the Quran refers to. They followed people that they knew they were not righteous. عرفوا علماءهم بالكذب الصراح. Clearly they were lying. بأكل الحرام والرشا. They used to eat haram. They used to take bribery from people. You know how much Isa alayhi salam had difficulty with correcting these people. وَتَغْيِيرَ الْأَحْكَامِ and وَجْهَهَا. They were manipulating Allah's rulings. بِالشَّفَاعَاتِ. If someone had money or power, was asking, this alim, could you please change this rule so that, for example, I can benefit? I have a problem with my wife, but please, make your judgment in the way that suits me. And this is the money. So, they were following ulama, but what kind of ulama? Ulama who were not true ulama. Ulama who lacked taqwa. And Imam alayhi salam explains how much, for example, they were taking the side of the people that they liked, and they ignored the people that they didn't like. Then Imam alayhi salam says, فَذَلِكَ لِذَلِكَ ذَمَّهُمْ لَمَّا قَلَّدُوا مَنْ قَدْ عَرَفُوا وَمَنْ عَلِمُوا أَنَّهُ لَا يَجُوزُ قَبُولُ خَبَرِهِ. Allah blamed them because they followed the people that they could not trust their words. They knew that these people are not trustworthy and reliable, and still they followed them. Because they took religion as a matter of formality. Like for example, you go to a court, even if you don't trust the judge, you need the signature of the judge. You have a problem, you just want the signature. Religion is not like this. It's not that signature or word of a person who is lacking taqwa would help you on the day of judgment. You cannot bribe ulama or maraj and get what you want, and then you think you have hujjah on this day of judgment. Of course, a true alim, a true marja, if you give him the whole dunya, would not change his opinion. There might be some pseudo alim that they might be happy to do so. But Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam have taught us, look for knowledge with taqwa. A'lamul ulama, but with taqwa, with adala. Not just a'lamul ulama, with taqwa, with piety. And then Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, after some sentences, he said that famous sentence, which is part of this long hadith, أَمَّا مَنْ كَانَ مِنَ الْفُقَهَاءِ صَائِنًا لِنَفْسِهِ حَافِظًا لِدِينِهِ مُخَالِفًا عَلَى هَوَاهِ مُطِيعًا لَأَمْرِ مَوْلَاهِ فَلِلْعَوَامِ أَنْ يُقَلِّدُوا. This is in tafsir of Imam Askari, but it's from Imam Sadiq. Those learned scholars, those jurists who are able to resist against their own temptations and safeguard their piety, and they are only there to observe and implement the will of Mawla, these are the people that you can do their taqleed. Taqleed is an exemption. Taqleed is a facility. If you don't want to taqleed, okay, you become a scholar yourself. Or you do ihtiyar. It doesn't say alal awam an yuqalladu. It says lil awam an yuqalladu. It's for the benefit of lay people, permitted that you can do taqleed, but taqleed of such people. And then Imam alayhi salam says, but be careful. ذَلِكَ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بَعْضَ فُقَهَاءِ الشِّيعَةِ لَا جَمِيعُهُمْ. It's not that just because someone is a Shia, we say, okay, we blame other faith communities and other schools, and when it comes to our scholars, we say, no, you can always, without any, examination, follow them. No. Find out that alim who has these qualities. Because as I said, when knowledge and taqwa come together, they form an institution. They form a position. We check people against these two qualities. We are not after any person as individual. We are after this position. And we check who is qualified for this position. Then Imam alayhi salam said, فَإِنَّهُ مَنْ رَكَبَ مِنَ الْقَبَائِحِ وَالْفَوَاحِشِ مَرَاكِبَ فَسَقَتِ فُقَهَا. And Imam mentioned some group. فَلَا تَقْبَلُوا مِنْهُمْ عَنَّا شَيْئًا. If you see there are some of our jurists and ulama who are not pious, don't accept anything from them. So it's not a matter of biasness. There is no asabiya here. We are not saying our ulama are perfect, other people's ulama are not good. No. It's a matter of who is truly endowed with knowledge and piety. So don't let doubts, questions, challenges, criticism undermine your respect for the position, but do more investigation. If there are false doctors, what do? If there are some doctors who cheat, what do? You say, I don't go to any doctor. I myself, go to pharmacy and take the medicine. Or you look hard to find good doctor. You cannot stop referring to doctors because there are some false doctors, or there are rumors about doctors, or there are even proved cases against some doctors. This is not more than that. You need to refer to doctors. But open your eyes. Inquire. Ask people who are qualified doctors. This is what you understand by your intellect. This is what you find in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And this is what has saved the Shia over 14 centuries. Is there any doubt? Even the most, critical minds. Is there any doubt? Just between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't need to answer. Is there any doubt that without our scholars and maraj', we were not able to be today where we stand? To have at least clear understanding. How much we implement, that's another issue. That's our problem. But at least today, after 14 centuries, we are able to say, this is the sunnah of the Prophet. This is the fiqh of Imam Sadiq. This is the way that Ahlul Bayt taught us to pray, to fast, to go for hajj, to do marriage, to do business transactions. Who preserved this for us? Who saved the Shia community in the most challenging and troubling times? When they were attacked by Nawasib, by Abbasid, by Umayyads, by Mongols, and you name it. And in the recent time, in Iran, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in different parts of the world. So if someone has a little fairness, would understand that based on our own experience also, more than what we have in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, more than what we can understand with Ahl, even our experience shows that we need to appreciate this institution. We need to do our best to strengthen and safeguard this institution, to help it flourish, to help it improve, to help it go to another higher level in this world in which the Shia community is spread all over the world. The Shia speak tens of languages. There was a time that Shia spoke mainly only 4 languages: Arabic, Urdu, Turkish, and Farsi. Now Shia speak tens of languages. They live in more than 100 countries. This institution now has to develop. we need to help. We need to support. We need to safeguard. And if we are grateful, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, would complete His blessings, would help us as a community to go further, inshallah. But if we are not grateful, then we may not be blessed by having the maraja that we have today in future. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the lives of our maraja and ulama and give them tawfiq, give them guidance, give them support, give them strength to lead us, to teach us, to guide us, and to show us the path towards a better future for ourselves and our children, inshallah. May Allah make the coming of Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif as soon as possible and as easy as possible, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.